Hello and welcome back to the Mani and Fariha show. As I stated before we went on break, I have an amazing guest who is also a dear personal friend of mine, Alan Thrasher. Alan, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you very much.
Yes, I have learned so much from you when it comes to eating and nutrition. And as you can see, that Alan is quite petite, but the wealth of knowledge that encompasses his brain is immense, to say the least. And there's actually a quote which I'd like to share with each of you. I just have it written here. And it's by Dwight Eisenhower, who was the 34th President of the United States. And what he says is, what counts is not necessarily the size of the dog in the fight, but it's the size of the fight in the dog. And we use that as an analogy of, you know, big things come packaged in small packages. And there is so much that you have to offer, and we are very grateful to have you on.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as my bio stated, I'm one of 6 kids and only person in my family with cerebral palsy. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a stroke that happens at birth. Okay.
Where the brain is deprived of oxygen.
Yes, I was actually stillborn. So
wow.
there was like 5 minutes where I wasn't living, okay? So brain damage occurs,
Yes.
and then I develop from there after they revive me. But since then, you know, I've been always fascinated about how doctors kept telling me I couldn't do something, or professionals kept telling me I would be limited at something, and then I'd find a way to do it, and I would always ask myself, why can I do it and others can't? There's 50,000 people with CP in Canada alone.
50,000 in Canada.
And only 10% of us walk.
So why is that?
Good question. And what I've discovered is it's all about challenges. How you deal with challenges. Most parents try to shield their children from falling in challenges.
Yeah.
My parents didn't. They said, "Are you hurt?" If I said no, they said, "Get up yourself." So it's part of the mindset.
So no privileged treatment for you.
No, if I was hurt, they were compassionate and they helped me out. But typically, my mom had a thought that one day she wouldn't be around, so she had to make it that I was independent. And
what a great service she provided you
she
for
did.
that.
She did, yeah. And until recently, I didn't realize how much, but now I'm just so independent. I'll get around the city with...
You got here.
Exactly. I have no problem figuring things out because that's what my mom instilled in me, is figure it out if you're not hurt. If you're hurt, get help.
Yeah.
So...
2 very important lessons. You know, if you're hurt, get help. And it not necessarily like physically, but you know, sometimes emotionally and mentally we're hurt, and to seek out whatever we need in that moment before we go forward.
Yeah, so my mom told me, never stop unless you're hurt, get help, keep going.
Keep going.
So
it reminds me of the song from Finding Nemo, Just Keep Swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Yes.
So I grew up and I learned to walk, and when I was 15, I was a national champion track and field athlete.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah. Went to the World Championships, represent Canada.
And you got to travel quite a bit because of that as well, right?
I've been to going on 20 countries.
20 countries, profound.
Yeah.
How many of us can say that, right?
Yeah, so it's it was a privilege. And then I got into cycling because I ran so much I broke my legs. I broke them because of the pounding that running has on people, and I took up cycling. Now, I never learned to ride a bike until I was 17. And I picked up my sister's 10-speed and said, well,
I'm going to ride this
let's
thing.
go downhill. Let's start with downhill.
Oh my gosh.
And within a year, I went to the World Championships for cycling.
Within a year?
Within a year.
You are a quick learner, aren't you, Alan?
I'd like to say that I'm stubborn. I get focused and keep going until I achieve it.
Well, very determined, that's for sure.
Yes. Then I got really interested in understanding how the body works.
Yes, the mechanics
The
of it.
mechanic, not just the mechanics, but how can somebody go from a wheelchair to being a cyclist who can ride a bike with no hands and do everything that like
that apparently people would say
realistically,
they
yeah,
can't.
realistically, I shouldn't be able to. And then I discovered what I think is the key to all health results is that your body.
And you're going to share the key with us?
I will. Your body's never static. So every opinion that you get about your condition or your body is just that. It's an opinion.
It's an opinion.
It's
not the truth.
It's not the truth.
Yeah.
Now, if you challenge your body in the way that your body needs challenged, you'll get the result you want. If you don't, you won't. It's that simple. So later on, about 25 years old, I encountered prostate cancer.
Okay. That's pretty young.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Again, diagnosis means nothing.
Yes.
Right? So diagnosis, you can be a kid and get cancer. So it really is just an opinion. Age has nothing to do with how you feel and what's going on.
Yeah.
So stage 3 prostate cancer I was diagnosed with. And it went away in a week.
In a week?
Because I discovered that whatever the body's doing, cancer, by the way, takes 10 years to show up. In any blood test, any test you go for a medical exam, the Cancer Society will tell you if you got diagnosed with it, you've had it for at least 10 years.
Wow.
Undiagnosed. So I looked at all the symptoms that I experienced over the last 10 years, and I looked at the common ones that I thought were me.
Yeah.
You know, how many people think certain aspects of themselves are them?
Yeah.
Some people may have gray hair and they think, well, I've had gray
genetics.
Well, no, that might be a sign that your body's talking to you about something going on inside.
So it sounds like you started to listen to your body.
I started understanding whatever's happening now has been happening for 10 to 20 years. You don't get overweight overnight. You don't get leaner overnight. It's a process. It's a process that your body's continually going on. And
that's very analytical of you.
Well, that's my strong
suit.
That's my strong suit. Science is my biggest thing. It's got to make sense. A, B, C, D.
Yes.
So what I've discovered in the process of my prostate cancer is that I had petroleum poisoning. Cycling behind cars 6 hours a day for 10 years would load me up with petroleum.
Yeah.
So when I cleansed myself of what was really going on, which is petroleum, the cancer disappeared with it.
Okay.
And
so how did you manage that in 1 week?
Well, I'm one of those guys that all or none. Well, I'm all or none.
Okay.
You know, people say, you know, you go to a nutritionist and they say, well, take 2 pills every meal. I'll take 4.
All right.
You know, they'll do 1 colonic or they'll work out for a half an hour. I'll do an hour and a half. So for me, I'm
all in.
Like all in or all not.
Yeah. So one extreme or the other. There's no in between for Alan.
There's no in between. So what I said was, okay, if I wanted to produce a result faster.
Yes.
Remember, cancer took 10 years to show up.
Exactly.
Did I want to wait 10 years?
For it to go.
To go. The answer is no. So I made the choice, and it is a choice, that I'm going to cleanse my body really hard. And that's what had me. I did colonics, I did everything. And the whole week that I was doing it, I was sick. Yeah. I was on
So basically detoxing,
I was
right?
basically, I couldn't function outside the house.
Yeah.
Like literally it was like.
So that's what it took.
That's what it took.
But then in a week you're cancer free.
Yes. So one of the things I actually learned from that process is cleanses are good as long as it's slow enough that you don't get the shock.
Yeah.
What I was willing to do was go through the shock.
You shocked your system.
I shocked my system.
Out of the cancer.
Out of the cancer. Now, if you're willing to do that, then be responsible for that. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a choice.
It's a choice. And most people, when they go for cleanses or go for this dietary change, they complain when they feel like crap.
Yeah.
Versus look at how fast did they introduce the change.
Okay.
So if they introduce the change slow enough, you will never feel bad with any good change. You just might not get the result as fast as you want, but you'll always get the result and you won't feel like bad.
Yeah.
This is when I discovered the truth about health. Health is your body's ability to adapt to everything you're doing.
Okay. So let us repeat that. Health is everything.
Is your body's ability.
Is our body's ability.
To adapt to everything that you're doing.
Okay.
Or every environment that you're in.
All right. So everything that we subjugate our body to.
Yes. And if it's done over time, it can be, so there are people that smoke and they've smoked for 80 years.
Yes.
Well, that means their body got used to it.
Okay.
That means the smoking itself is beneficial to them at that point. If you take away smoking at 80 years old, their body will go into shock and will end up dying. Because they've accustomed themselves to it so much, they have to.
The body's adapted.
The body adapted and said, okay, we know this is poisonous, but we can use it over here. We can use it for some benefit.
Yeah.
That's when I discovered when people think things are good or bad, they're missing the point. The only bad thing in health is something that kills you automatically. Now that might sound very dramatic.
Yeah, it does indeed.
Yeah. But really, if your body hated it, your body would throw it up or get rid of it.
Okay, one way or another.
One way or another, and that's what people are missing. They're looking for the good food, the bad food, the right food, the wrong food, and it's
basically really, just food.
It's really just food. Can you digest it is the real question. Can you not digest it is the real question. Exercise, no different. Can you handle the stress? Can you not handle the stress? If you can't handle the stress, you'll get injured. If you can handle the stress, you'll get better.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is quite a fascinating topic, and we will be discussing it more in depth with Alan Thrasher, the benefits of food and how we utilize it. Because as Alan is saying, food is food, exercise is exercise, and yet, why do each individuals encounter different results?
yeah.
So stay tuned. We will be back shortly after this message.